Just let me do it. Also, I'm just using the synchronize function now. It works really well. Yeah, it takes a little longer. It's for but you just let the computer do it, and then you can browse Twitter at the same time.
Yeah. Are you using like Chat GBT or whatever?
GPT, I think is what it's called, if I'm correct. No, of course not.
No.
I don't know how you can use it. Maybe once, if I get a real job, I can figure out how to include it into my workflow. But I just edit podcasts.
The one that's like universal, from what I understand, or at least is what my boss keeps trying to pitch to me, is you can upload a transcript of a meeting, and it can tell you what notes are important and what the action points are and all that stuff. So it can take notes for you, so you don't have to be the one to take notes. So I mean, I think that's probably like.
Where do you get a transcript of your meeting? Is there software for that?
Yeah. I mean, you can on Zoom and stuff like that. You can just get your meeting transcripted.
Nice,
easy peasy, and then bada bing, you're done. So
bada bing, bada boom,
boom,
baby.
Boom. That's technology, dude.
That's technology. Yeah. I'm really frustrated because Adobe invented a way to get rid of an entire workflow. They invented this software.
Mm-hmm.
It's called podcast audio. And basically what it does is it takes any sort of vocal track, and the vocal track can be really bad. It can be like somebody recording in somebody's basement, with like nothing but...
I mean, we look like we're recording in a basement.
That's true,
right
we
now.
do.
We're
It looks
70s basement.
70s basement. Well, we need some macrame on these walls or something.
Hell yeah, dude. We should do that, actually.
Yeah, a worn-out photo of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Is that more 80s? That might be more 80s.
Yeah, but there being a worn-out photo there is indicative of what you would find in a 70s basement.
Yeah, you have a worn-out photo of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and then just Pope John Paul II next to it.
There you go. The two greatest men of the age.
Well, I mean, to some folks, south of the Mason-Dixon, that's certainly true. But no, basically what the software does is it takes any sort of audio and then it turns it into professional quality audio.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what I do is, my job is I turn audio into professional quality audio, and I have paid a ton of money for software to do it. I went through the ringer getting a whole workflow figured out for it and using the proper levels and all this stuff. Like a part of my proprietary thing is the fact that I could do that, and they just invented software that does it. It takes a little longer than my process, but just like works in the background, and then it almost it'll do some things where like the audio will sound a little weird or somebody's voice won't sound quite right because I think it uses AI to like sort of construct
and fill in the gaps.
Yeah, it constructs like a vocal profile of the person, and then using transcripting technology sort of like creates artificial of them saying it if they can't really like hear it properly.
Interesting.
But what they did is that it was truly, we were living in salad days for a solid 3 weeks when everybody first found out about it, and there was no cap on how much audio you could use. And so you were just freaking. I was like, oh, I've got 5 tracks for this podcast. I'm just going to, it'll take like 45 minutes, but I'll get quality audio from all those 5 tracks. And now they have this new thing where it's every hour you get 1 audio. And so what I end up doing is that if I get a batch of audio from someone for a podcast and one of the speakers sounds like they're talking through a cheese grater, then I just throw them in there. And then don't even think about it. But hopefully Adobe will eventually, as compensation for ruining my life, will
send you a check.
Well, no, we'll just like let me do it on my computer.
Yeah.
Locally host it, because right now you got to do it through a browser and stuff. It's like a whole rigmarole, as they say. Dylan already mentioned it, but right now we're sitting in a 70s basement.
Yes, we are. For those that are listening, which, by the way, why would you do such a thing when you can look upon this visage? You know, it doesn't make any sense. We're 50% of the package, right? This is an audio-visual experience.
That's true. It's true.
And the first half of that phrase.
Josh spends hours, interjecting like visual gags into every episode. That you're missing out
on. You guys don't even know about Francis, the small goblin that he's animated into 50% of the episodes.
Yeah, he's doing keyframed After Effects animations. He made a whole rig for Francis. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Like when we did the Matterhorn episode, like he animated half of it with Francis and The Rock climbing all of these, various rocks, I guess. Maybe Francis just climbed the rock. The greatest mountain of all.
Adorable. Francis is an adorable scamp.
Exactly.
So it's been great.
But Josh puts a lot of work into it. Anyway, so right now, actually, we were recording. And the reason we don't have a guest this week is because I've been moving into this space, but my company and some friends of mine kind of are going in on an office space. And so we're not anywhere near finished putting it together, and who knows how long it'll be before we do put it all together, but we are recording
It'll be
right
an incremental thing. Yeah.
We are recording right now from what will become the Monomaniacs studio. So if you're looking at us now, and for those of you listening, we're kind of in what can only describe as a wood-paneled prison.
Yes, of our own design and making, honestly.
Yes. It's like if
we've
you went
consented
to
to being here.
If you go to like an intimate black box show where like somebody's really terrible one-act play is performed, it's like that, except for instead of you're being in a black box, we're in, where we're about to get murdered by a guy with a coke-stained mustache.
Which is the best way to die.
Yeah, kind
honestly.
of
The good death. Yeah.
One of the walls is just entirely corkboard that somebody nailed to the wall. So,
which is a beautiful sight.
It really is. I mean,
to think of the amount of thoughts you could put up on there with sticky notes and or pins.
As
and
I was telling somebody the other day as I was looking through this, I thought, maybe somebody just constructed the most elaborate conspiracy theory imaginable that it required multiple rooms worth of corkboard wall in order to get it all ready.
You know what my recommendation is actually for this room? Paint the entire thing in chalk paint. Do the whole chalk paint thing.
That wouldn't be stupid, I promise. That stuff's expensive, from what I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Josh, how much for a gallon of chalk paint?
A gallon? You don't need a gallon, I don't think.
No, we got to paint this whole room. You're going to need a gallon of paint.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you're doing multiple layers of chalk paint.
Well, that way we could draw fun things on the wall each episode.
Yeah, because you're a really great artist. And
we could draw like Francis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could draw a frame by frame animation of Francis.
Francis hitting the sucket.
Yeah.
Hitting
the dab, dude.
Yeah, dude, that'd be.
Dude, remember that one time where Francis fought a small mouse in the background over the course of a full hour?
Yeah,
it was a gruesome.
It was basically like the Peter Griffin fighting the Chicken Man, but it was it was him fighting a mouse. It was truly. I mean, we won a Webby for it.
Yeah. So. I mean, that was a short film award for that one. Well, we didn't win it. Josh did. I mean, that's the hard work you put into that animation.
That's part of his portfolio.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
It's beautiful to behold.
Yeah. So, but we've got it all set up right now. We're gonna probably need to paint the walls. I mean, get some new equipment, set some things up.
Yeah, it's obviously not looking great, but hey, if you're out there and you've got any recommendations or ideas, let us know.
Yeah, we got to do some soundproofing. It's probably a little reverby right now because every surface is just reflecting everything. Although I'm curious if cork has sound dampening properties. I imagine it does. It's very porous, so maybe it's not as bad as it could be.
You know what? Yeah, you know what it is that they didn't go far enough. They should have covered this entire room in cork.
Honestly, I was thinking about that. That would be hilarious. Because that stuff's matte, so like it would be fine for recording. It would just be cork.
There you go.
Yeah, these wood panel.
People would just question whether or not we were sane, but at the same time.
These wood panel walls, man, it's funny. So the office space that we have, which, if you're ever in Hillsdale and you want to see the space, if you're ever going to, now is a double reason for you to be on the show because you don't have to go to Dylan's house.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
And if you ever
say that like it's a selling point. It's a beautiful place,
or if you ever
that's chill,
neglected to be on the show because you were allergic to a dog.
True.
You could now,
or now it's Lucy optional. You could ask for Lucy.
Yeah, we could bring Lucy in. That means we're down one podcast dog, but that does mean that awkward interruption that happens about once or twice every show where the guest doesn't know what the hell to do because the dog's barking at us doesn't happen anymore.
I think that's a part of this core character of the show.
Yeah,
potentially. It's a sad transition. We've lost something about the spirit.
Yeah, I feel like we should have prepared people a little bit better because I remember when Jack was on last time, he was looking at me like, "Am I supposed to stop here?" No. You keep going. We just pretend like the dog isn't barking.
Exactly.
And then Josh can get up really quickly and go, and run over and open the door so that she can run upstairs. But yeah, so if you want to see the office space, check it out. It's a dump. In a lot of ways.
But it's also a dub at the end of the day.
It's a dub. We got a really good deal on it. The previous tenants, though, were a painting company. And so it smells like paint. It was dusty as all hell. I spent a few hours this weekend just dusting every ledge in this whole place.
Every crevice.
Every crevice and ledge, I ran a moist towelette through to make sure that I could get rid of some dust and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I'm going to die at a really young age.
There is asbestos tiling in the entryway.
We are covering it with rugs. We're doing this really edgy, cool thing where we're just creating a patchwork of rugs because the flooring is so bad. But yeah, no, if you want to come and check it out, though, you're gonna have to come and check it out. I know some people are gonna come up for graduation, so we might have to show them around, record an episode or two. But yeah, no, so we've got a cool setup, and the nice thing about it too is that it's nice to have an office.
Yeah, so
that I'm not working from home. Which I can already tell my wife is starting to have separation anxiety. Because the whole time we've been married, I've worked from home. So she is just used to being able to, at any time she wants, come in and bother me.
Shad.
And she describes it as such. She'll just walk over, she'll stare over my shoulder at whatever I'm looking at on Twitter, and then like grab my shoulders and like forcibly rub them to the point where it kind of hurts a little bit. And then that's just happens about once an hour.
It's like, it's how they express love.
It's how they express love.
Women. Yes. Yeah. Them. The other.
But yeah, no, so yeah, we're giving it a shot though. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for other people to move in here because it'd be nice to have some boys around, because it's not any better than working from home when you're just working in a dark room by yourself.
I would actually argue that it's significantly worse.
It's significantly worse. I was kind of missing my wife because I was like, I can't go and bother Jake or do the whole office camaraderie thing, which is the whole reason that we did this, because everybody's gone. So, I actually got a text from Vince to have him come out here because he told me, because I kind of mean mugged him about moving in here, and he was like, "No, man, I could get in there. I could be in there Wednesday, man. I could be there on Wednesday." So,
well, it's almost Tuesday.
It's almost Tuesday, and
hide her hair.
No, hide her hair. Although I didn't. He should have come by today. I had so much stuff on my plate, man. Moving into an office is a lot of work. Dude, because it's like
any moving isn't going to be a lot of work.
Well, you've got rent, but then it's like, okay, now we got to get the internet all set up. We got to get all these. I've spent a lot of money on various furnitures and lamps and etc. Because the lighting in here is how would I describe it? It's probably equivalent to Manhunt, the Rockstar
found footage,
snuff film video game. It's kind of like that. I feel like I'm about to be killed by a guy wearing a pig head.
When you're in
when we're in these places. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. I think it's just the way that people look at the 70s now. But when I see the space with the fluorescent light and the wood paneling and everything like that, I can't help but feel that there's some dark crimes going on in this area. Like somebody's doing some sort of illicit drug very frequently throughout their workday.
Yes.
And it could be you.
That's true.
Right? Like you have that benefit and option now.
I'm
you're unshackled from your wife's, gaze.
She has no idea. If I wanted to do coke on the job, she has no idea.
What's she gonna do? Say no? She isn't here.
Yeah. Just come home, just my nose is bleeding. Speaking of bleeding noses, I was listening to a Political Beats episode, friend of the show, Scott Bertram, podcast. Check it out if you haven't. It's really good. But he did an episode on Fleetwood Mac, and I was very vindicated by it because me and my wife have this argument about whether or not Fleetwood Mac is good. And it's mostly because she hates Stevie Nicks, which understandable.
I mean, who does not?
She's insufferable, but she's a great vocalist and a good songwriter. I mean, I guess it depends. About 50% of people think she's got the most annoying voice in the world, which is hilarious because comparatively nowadays, it's Ceronious, or excuse me, not Ceronious. What's the
Melodious?
Melodious, I guess, I suppose. In comparison to what they got Future doing, Post Malone, right? You're like, okay, well, she sort of sounds like a goat. Not at all.
No,
not in comparison to.
We'll talk about Fetty Wap.
Yes.
Though. Nobody talks about Fetty Wap anymore. Talk about here and gone so quickly.
That's true. 1738.
Yeah. To think him and his eye.
Yes.
It had such an impact on the popular
culture. What is Fetty
culture.
up to right now?
Yeah. Has Fetty released any music in the last 4 years?
Is Fetty alive? That's actually a real question.
Yeah.
Is Fetty alive?
There is a good chance that Fetty Wap is dead. Taken before his time, like so many other good men.
Yes. He'll probably end up like on a Gorillaz song in 10 years if he is alive.
He is alive.
Alive.
But there was a death hoax.
There was a death hoax. There was one Twitter
it's
user.
incredibly believable.
Yeah, one Twitter user called like hip hop _news, who posted Fetty Wap's dead, and then like 25 actual news sources picked it up for some reason.
So he did temporarily go to jail.
Went to jail
For threatening to kill someone
For-
over FaceTime.
for threatening to kill someone
Over
over
Face-
FaceTime.
How do you even prosecute that?
I don't know.
I-
It's like the in Minecraft thing. Did you hear about this guy who went to jail for the in Minecraft thing?
He did?
Yeah, there was this guy who was posting on like
That's terrible. There's so many things
feel like
we've
it was-
said on
yeah,
this podcast that are in Minecraft.
yeah,
that
there was this guy who
we could be liable for.
was in a Discord server and was like, "Oh, somebody should shoot the sheriff in our town in Minecraft." And then they were like, "Okay, well, you're arrested for that one." So
So somebody. Well, first off, what snitch?
turns out the sheriff was the sheriff of Minecraft, also
Whoa.
the Minecraft jurisdiction.
What snitch on that Discord call just decided to share that?
I don't know.
information?
I feel like from what I've heard, from what I'm seeing, there's like there's a lot of public Discord servers. People are kind of hopping around and stuff, and Discord DMs are always getting leaked. They're
Yes,
always
all the
being
time,
used as, this guy is an abuser. The whole "this guy's an abuser" thing, is kind of wild to me because like there are so many people who are legitimately predators, abusers, etc. But it's odd because I think the language has been superimposed onto other things. Like there was this band, and there some indie, like scene kind of band, and that whole group of people is very. They're especially worried about that stuff because there's a lot of scene bands have had a lot of underage stuff going on because their primary demographic is 13-year-old girls, so that's gonna cause problems. But this guy wrote like a 5-paragraph essay. It was like a leftist meme sort of thing where like it's like that great reply like man, I'm sorry for you, or happy that happened. I'm not going to read that. But it was super long, and this guy did this whole thing that was essentially boiled down to I cheated on my girlfriend with a groupie.
Yeah.
But it was like him being like, I abused 2 people by lying and being withholding information and all this stuff and like grooming, but like the grooming was like just him hitting on this woman who was his groupie, and then so it was basically just him describing cheating on his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then it was like just couched in all of this extra language to make it seem like he was some sort of abuser, right? It was like, no, he's a bad guy.
He's a douchebag.
He's a douchebag, but he's not, I don't know. I'm not going to say unequivocally that this guy is not an abuser. Totally possible. But based on what that read, I was like, oh, okay, you're just being stupid, right?
I mean, hey, I think a lot of stupid decisions can lead to that kind of a justification.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think it's a little weird that we're couching everything in that language now. So because what happens, what's happening now is
to me.
It's now the number one thing that like YouTubers or Discord people or anything, they're always accused of being an abuser, right? And it's like,
well,
okay.
I mean, it really just comes down to the loosening of the definition of abuse. I mean, I don't think it. I mean, because it's become so much wider.
Yeah,
right?
but
it's going to be increases. It's not because people are trying to.
Well, they're not trying
equivocate it. It's broadening the definition.
Yeah. But what happens in the long run is that it just weakens the noun to the point where now it's like, okay, well, is everybody who's ever like made, is everybody who's just sort of been to a jerk to somebody one time, an abuser, right? I don't know. It's because, I think that just, the more that becomes a thing, right? The more that people who, it's hard for the discerning viewer to understand the gradient. Because if everybody, is like just claiming that somebody was abusive because they were mean in a Discord DM one time.
I mean, I think you're conflating. I mean, I don't think that it's because
no, this is a real thing.
No, I know that, but I think that
Yeah.
you're you're diminishing the severity of how it's most often used, right? Like I wouldn't say that.
What do you mean I'm diminishing the severity?
Like
I'm saying that what's happening is that
I would say
is
that's maybe
diminishing
like
severity.
10% though of the time it's not justifiably labeled.
Really?
Yeah, in my experience.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm watching a lot of video essays about like
Discord groomers. Or whatever.
Discord groomers or whatever, and all of them are like very justifiably like labeled as abusers.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but
I don't know. I'm not
saying,
on
like,
Twitter. I'm not seeing it all
I'm
the
saying
time.
on
but-
Twitter. On Twitter, it's like everything. It's just constant, right? And like it'll be something. The classic one is that two people who are internet people break up,
Mhm.
and then what happens is that rather than somebody just being a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend, they become an abuser or a terrible person, like intrinsically.
But that's just sensationalism,
yeah,
right?
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that in sensationalism causes actual like problems to be diminished because we're just using these words. Right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
And like because nowadays everybody's got to litigate their stuff publicly.
Yeah.
They have to get on the internet.
Well, it's like how when a celebrity, like a classic celebrity, like even like a Leonardo DiCaprio, when he breaks up
Man,
with
go job Mad TV.
whenever he breaks up with his 25-year-old girlfriend,
They
like,
sign NDAs.
True.
Yeah,
True.
That's
is
totally different. They
That's a
sign
true
NDAs.
aspect, but but he doesn't actively go out and attempt to like tell people about it for like clout and for exposure,
Yeah,
right?
No.
Like he's not actually trying to like when somebody who is so like internet minded, like internet pilled, they break up with their girlfriend. First off, everybody who follows them probably knows the girlfriend and their name and their
Yeah.
interaction. So then they have to go up in front of everybody and say, "Hey guys, I really hope that I never have to make this video." And and they go into Stacy and I, we still respect each other, and they're gonna talk it through like you're their son, like you're their 10-year-old son, and they're getting
Me
a
and your
divorce.
mom, or
Yeah.
we still love each other. We just don't want to live together anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. Becca was showing me this video of this couple who made a bunch of were one of the first travel YouTubers where they moved to Korea like right after they got married,
Mhm.
and they were like 20 years old or something. They moved to Korea, and then they did like weekly vlogs and like K-pop reviews and all this stuff, and they became like the cultural thing
Mhm.
there. And then like they did collaborations with the government and all this stuff, and then right before COVID they moved to Japan to do Japan next. And then they got divorced like within 6 months of COVID. And when that happened, it was the same. Like it was, okay. You're like, okay. Obviously, these people are broken people.
Mhm.
They're having their own problems. There are things that they can't reconcile. That's why they're doing this. But they started two separate YouTube channels, and the YouTube channel's primary method of of content is just them talking about each other.
Mhm.
And one of them will be like, "Oh yeah, this person's a narcissist," which is another one of those things. that
Yes.
is just thrown around all the freaking time to the point where now, what even is a narcissist at this point?
Well, I
But-
would say that you have to be some level or shade of narcissist in order to be somebody who's like making vlogs about your travel life.
yeah, maybe.
So, I think that those traits are there.
yeah,
Maybe it's being inflated to be like a narcissist. Like maybe they've
Yeah.
got aspects of it, but
but it's like it's like
somebody on the outside could easily say, "Oh yeah, for sure, I could see it."
it's bona fide when you're watching these videos though. It's sort of bona fide like HIPAA breaking insanity where they're just like, oh yeah, and then this one time, and then they're talking about this one time, which they probably should have talked about in couples therapy or something.
Yeah.
But they're like basically listing all the reasons they got divorced, and then and then also this person has a chemical illness or something. Oh, this guy's a chemical imbalance. This guy's a narcissist. Oh, she's bipolar, and that's why this is all going on. One time he like yelled at the dog, and you're like, okay, all right, like calm down. And so yeah. And then there's like weird small things that'll just kind of get blown into weird proportion. and
Listen.
then-
When this
Yeah.
podcast goes down, in a ball of fire,
Yeah.
and we split off, I will make a second podcast That's just me talking about you. How about that? Would people be interested in that?
Yeah.
Honestly, if the Patreon money's bigger over there, I might just do it now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just your weekly hatred of Shad podcast, but then like we're not alienated from each other, so we like see each other still every week and hang out and play board games or whatever. And it's like you can't believe what this guy said when he rolled 2 1s.
Yeah, in a row.
In a row when he rolled.
Let's
2 1s
just say
in a row.
that if I said it, the certain political action groups would have my head.
The ACLU would, or the NAACP would be knocking on my door. I mean, the Al Sharpton would be saying hello.
Yes.
You're careful with this couch, dude.
I mean, hey,
You're putting too much weight on it.
dude, you are too, dude. I think this is just us having a lot of weight to push. I think
Okay.
is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, potentially.
We're too heavy for this couch. I want to point out real fast the sign that Sammy Roberts, patron, gave us for the studs. It says tool rules.
Yep.
Don't touch them. Don't borrow them. Don't move them. Don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of sign, like you see this all over the place at hardware stores, or even just a sign that's got like a 1950s era ad drawing of a guy, and it's like, women are here, nah, beer here, or something like that. And, and he's smiling.
Oh, say hit that one again.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's like the ethos,
Okay.
right? That's they're more clever than I am. The guys making these signs. Anyway, I just want to meet the person that sees that and like their first reaction is to laugh. Right? They're like, oh, nice.
So that's
high
sort
five.
of like boomer Facebook meme.
Kind
content
of stuff. Yeah. Not to say what you bought us isn't funny, Sammy. We love it.
No, he said it's because we're a couple of tools.
Oh.
The tool rules are us. We're the tool rules.
Don't touch them. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't borrow them.
Yeah.
True. Don't move them. I'd like to see you try. Don't even look at them. Please look at us.
Yes.
Or we're not even recording this visual aspect for any reason. So please.
We're just screaming into the void as we speak. But yeah, the wine mom thing I feel like has sort of dropped, or the minion memes, all that stuff. It's like less prevalent.
Is it less prevalent, or is it we're not in those groups of communication?
Yeah, I'm not really on Facebook much anymore,
Yeah.
so potentially.
And plus, the way that Facebook's orchestrated now, you have to be a part of groups in order to see a lot of like just random content like that. And
what this has sort of been done to death, but do you think that the genre of person, and it stretches beyond socioeconomic bracket, it stretches beyond age in some respects, the genre of person who is still kind of willing to hold on to the minions, because
as an aesthetic.
I worked for somebody who was a minion person, who was not like in any way, there was nothing about them that indicated to you that they would be, but they just were, right? To the point where, you could get them something minion related when you went to the mall or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you so much for this minion item."
Thank you. It's okay, Mr. President.
Yeah, it's okay, Mr. President. Yeah, I worked actually for President Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. Minion guy. Who knew?
Actually, I feel like Joe would sort of be a minion guy.
Yeah, I think he's laughed in a minion meme in his life.
Yeah.
I think he's
Bob, Bill. What are you talking about?
banana.
Yeah.
Listen here, banana.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's you know what we're gonna do? This is classic. We haven't really prepared much because we're in this. I've been hard at work getting this office in order and sending a lot of emails and paying a lot of bills, and I've been on the phone for like 2.5 hours today. So, presidents, minion president, not minion president.
Ooh, okay.
Let's start talking about different presidents and saying whether or not they would be into, say, if you were to show Andrew Jackson a minion meme, would he laugh?
Of course, culturally contextual.
Yes.
Minion meme.
No, so I think that
Where like
Andrew,
it's like
Andrew
the Manifest
Jackson,
Destiny painting.
Yeah.
Except for it's a minion with a banana pointing to the
Yes. I'm sure
coast.
Andrew Jackson would laugh at whatever the time, the Jackson Age of Jackson appropriate Punisher Punisher minion.
Yes.
I think he would find that if it said something
He's
like
a
the
Punisher
lines
guy.
of if I turn around, you better be the first to kill me, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, or Marines don't
Yeah,
retreat.
you only get one shot because you ain't getting a second.
Yeah,
kind of
something
thing.
like
Yeah.
that. I think that he would be like, I think I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna post this on my Facebook wall.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my adopted Indian son which means I'm not racist because I adopted an Indian, is going to really appreciate this. Excuse me, Native American.
No, come on, dude. Come on.
But
no, but yeah, I mean, other presidents. Jimmy Carter loves the Minion memes.
I think Jimmy Carter to this day probably actually
yes,
likes Minion
he's
memes.
probably into it right now.
I can imagine his grandkids getting him some sort of small plastic Minion that when you press a button on it, it says banana. And him going, wow, thank you so much for this. Yeah, I'd say so.
Ronald Reagan, you might not think this, likes Minions.
I'd say no.
Total Minion
I
guy.
understand 100%.
Yeah.
Say because the man's favorite freaking food was jelly beans. Of
Yeah.
course he likes.
He's
Minions.
got a child deep within him that he's ready to release.
He's got a sweet tooth, sort
Yeah.
of disposition.
Yeah.
Bush Senior, no.
No.
Bush Junior, yes.
100%.
Bill Clinton, yes, but for all the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons. Yeah. When that Minion's talking about bananas, well,
Donald J. Trump, 100%. Joe Biden, I think so.
mm-hmm.
As far as
I don't know
Barack
about
Obama, Barack Obama, no,
No.
no.
No,
He's too Republican for that. Our last great Republican president, Barack Obama. No, Trump. No, 100% Trump. In a way that it's like, it's the same way that, like, I feel like half of the women over the age of 50 who were at Jan 6,
like Minion memes, true.
Yeah, it's
You're
true.
probably right.
It's like that.
They all own pajama pants that have Minions.
Yeah,
on them.
it's like you know, have you ever seen those people who are super big thin blue line people, but then like also Disney people?
Yeah,
right.
Very
like,
common.
Where there's people who've got like
it's the police officers and their Disney wives.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because like I've seen multiple stickers and art pieces and stuff where it's like a Mickey Mouse silhouette head, right? The great symbol of our time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thin blue line flag inside of it. You're thinking, okay, you know, like what kind of mind is behind this? And a lot of those people were on January 6th, you know? So, I mean, I think that makes sense. And I think that's
true.
because of that, Trump, I think, has a certain, not maybe love, but a begrudging respect
for what they've done for his campaign.
For Bob, Kevin, and the gang. We can go a little bit further back into the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, I think he's no.
I think he appreciates how much of a cultural impact and how it has manipulated the great politique.
Yeah,
he
sort of looks like Gru, kind of. I'm thinking. I mean, he's got like a nerd face, and Gru sort of. Gru's got a weird, comically large nose, and that's definitely not.
No.
That's definitely not Wilson's.
No,
MO. Let me think here. So Wilson, no. Coolidge. Yes.
Hoover?
Yes.
I'm gonna give him a yes.
Why are you giving Hoover a yes?
He's too focused on the fantasy.
That's
right?
true, and he's also
like,
kind of fat, which I think liking Minions is sort of a fat thing.
It's a fat person thing.
Yeah. Which is why Taft is definitely yes.
Yeah.
Minions.
Garfield is 100%.
Yeah.
A Minions guy.
Yeah, I would say the real dark horse would be. I mean, I was from the start. I was debating with myself what I legitimately thought about this. My mic is kind of using a weird setup, and my mic is starting to kind of fall down.
Is that what you were thinking about the whole time?
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, you want to justify him as a Minion guy?
Well, I just don't know. I haven't.
Teddy Roosevelt.
I haven't
if he's posted memes on Facebook, it is vistas with text. Misattributed quotes.
Yeah, you take 100% of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah,
and it's like instead of Wayne Gretzky, it's there's the classic joke. There's the Michael Scott, and then it's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Instead of Wayne Gretzky, it's like Gandhi or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's this classic one. Oh gosh. I was at the local eatery, and they do this quote of the week thing, and there's this Socrates quote that has been misattributed for like hundreds of years, I think, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It's something stupid. It's like about friends. It's like, your strongest thing you have is your friends. And you're like, no, Socrates never said that. But
He had friends, but for all the wrong reasons.
yeah.
So
yeah,
the
Teddy-
big core one,
Yeah.
the big core, though, I think that people are most interested is the founding fathers.
Founding fathers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was going to say Gerald Ford, no.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a founding father, of course, but I'm still I was thinking about some 20th century presidents. Gerald Ford is a no. Eisenhower is a no. I don't think any World War II.
No.
Nixon, yes. But
But what's funnier?
he's
though,
more fascinated with them abstractly.
Mhm.
He's thinking about them and saying, "What is this stuff? What are these things? What are my grandkids showing me?" For sure, that's my feeling with Nixon on that. JFK,
But what's funnier?
JFK, yes.
100%.
JFK, 100%.
I love bananas. I love Bob. Robbie.
Robbie. I call him Rob. Robert.
Robert.
It's Bob, Kevin, and what's the third one? I can't believe I can't distinguish their personalities. Like I remember back when BuzzFeed was still relevant and people were doing like, which minion are you? And I'm like, they're all the same thing. They're all lovable
No,
idiots.
but one of them's like a show off. One of them's like got weird sensual nature for some reason.
Yeah, there is the weird.
Yeah.
There's the one that's sexual. Why is there the sexual minion? It's
why?
the small
why
one,
is
right?
there
It's
so
the
many
short one.
dances involving their butts?
Yes,
shaking?
it's always got its butt out. Because they're hermaphrodites or like asexual. I don't know what their deal is, but
I don't know. I don't even remember in the lore.
yeah.
What the
And by
lore is of this.
asexual, I mean like they're not like identifying as asexual or whatever. They like literally, I think, probably are asexually reproducing. They
No,
grow.
no, no,
they
no.
do mitosis.
No, because they exude so much sensuality. I don't know.
That's true. They
Yeah.
probably-
I mean, they've got some sort of energy.
That's
that
true.
They're tapping within.
That's true. He's
right?
trying really hard to.
Either that or it's just purely based off of cultural.
Yeah.
Attempting to fit into
They
the culture.
like to wear skimpy outfits and I don't know. It's
and
weird.
twerk and such.
It's twerk and such. They be twerking.
And so let's talk about that for a second.
And that's
Do
probably
you think
why
that,
JFK liked them.
Mhm.
That's probably why JFK is pro minion.
Yeah, for all the wrong
I
reasons.
like the I like the butts. I like the minion butts. What can I say? Yeah, as far as the founding fathers are concerned, and we don't have to say that it's just presidents,
no,
founding fathers. We can just say
No.
founding fathers.
just in general because we don't want to stick
Yeah.
it just to Washington here.
I think it's something like 60% of Americans that if you just ask them point blank if Benjamin Franklin was ever president, they like 100%. Yeah, he was 100% a president. It's like, no.
Well, we speak to 60% of America on this
That's true.
podcast.
That's true. So yes, Benjamin Franklin was president.
Mhm.
That's why they put him on the $100 bill.
you ain't getting on the $100 bill
Unless
unless
you
you
were
were
president.
No, but I think Benjamin Franklin, yes, for all the wrong reasons. Same thing.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, that guy, he was a bit of a horn dog, that guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think here. So Jefferson, no. Washington, yes, but in an austere way.
a dignified and
Yeah,
strong way.
I think there is such thing as a dignified and strong minion appreciator, and I think that'd be Washington.
yeah,
for
the
sure.
Shad minion appreciator, Washington.
Yeah, Adams, no. Madison, no.
Hamilton, yes, and unironically.
Yep. Yes.
Like the
Well, I
nerd
mean,
that he is.
Yeah, if freaking Lin, if definitely Lin-Manuel Miranda's interpretation of Hamilton was in the Minions, for sure. He was a lyrical spiritual miracle. And then let me think. I'm trying to grab back at John Hancock. Yes, because of the signature for sure.
Yeah, because the the identifier we have from him is his grandiose signature, and there's nothing more in your face and spectacular than, damn it, a minion.
That's
true.
true.
They're out there trying to have the world see them,
Yes.
see every bit of them.
And
at all times.
In a certain way, actually, the revolution itself was minion-esque.
Yeah.
Because
from
about
an
it.
ethos perspective.
Think about it, because what the minion represents is chaos in a posh environment more often than not. They're sort of
Yes.
like Mr.
I
Bean
mean, why
figures.
else would they put the Minion movie in England, right?
That's what I was thinking. I was literally thinking that, where they go and they...
Because you got to put them up against people that would be anti the Minion way. And
They
so
go
what is the Minion
they'll
way?
go to like a posh dinner party, and then they'll fall into the ice cream sundae that they're eating or something, and they go, "Oh my, who are these minions, and why are they ruining my dinner party?"
Yes.
We sort of ruined a dinner party on a large scale.
Yeah. An English one,
Yeah.
in particular,
Yeah.
during the Revolution.
So, which minion was George Washington then? Was he Bob? Was he Kevin?
You're asking Stuart. Yes, third one.
Oh,
Stuart.
Stuart. Okay, is Stuart
Let's
the
just
sex
say
one?
Yeah, yeah. Which one's the
I
sex
think Stuart's the sex one.
I think Bob is.
Oh, Bob is the sex minion.
one? That was my name in college. Call me sex
I don't
minion.
think there's even a positive connotation to that phrase. Sex minion. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
either you're a
possible.
minion to sex or you're a minion in a
For-
sexual
yeah,
way.
for sex.
Yeah,
Sex minion. Come on now.
that would be a good album name though.
No.
Sex Minion. I think so. I
Sounds like
think
something that like
that'd be a great Death Grips album.
that's like something like George Clinton or like Miles Davis would do, you know? I mean, Miles Davis had a record called Bitches Brew, you know? It's one of the great albums of all time. But
Period. Done.
Sex Minion. It's, Rick
yeah,
James
that's the
is
next
like,
great album. Sex
Yeah.
Minion.
There was a cool period. I'm sort of ripping this a little bit from another podcast, but like where or in early funk music where, you know, like black people got into spaceships. Or like Parliament Funkadelic and stuff, where they're
Yeah.
like, what if we just have I was listening actually to Parliament Funkadelic the other day, and there's the song Flashlight, which is like off their big record, and it's mostly just spaceship noises and then like a weird funk beat sort of, and like all these synth stings and stuff, and it's like a skit. There's like a skit involved in the record and stuff, and you're sitting there just like, okay, all right,
It's great.
we're into spaceships.
That was the pinnacle of music. I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about.
Some people believe that. Some people believe that.
and they would be right.
And now
correct.
Parliament Funkadelic does like breweries. You can go see him at the brewery.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah.
that isn't the life, I don't know what is.
Yeah. It's a local folk duo, and then George Clinton's up there. Weird. George Clinton, Minions, for sure.
Yes.
And
definitely.
I'm
into
saying this for
Minions.
the same reason that Bill Clinton.
Mhm.
Because
for the wrong ones.
well, I'm just saying because they're both Clintons.
And
They're actually
Or-
tangentially related to each other.
what do you think about potential president Hillary?
yeah.
Clinton?
Shillery.
Does she like the Minion memes?
I think 100% likes the Minion memes.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying this because of this chilling in Cedar Rapids adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's like the same reason Elizabeth Warren is probably into Minions.
It's because she thinks it's cool to be into them.
Yeah.
And
It's
wants to
because
get
it's like, oh.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Except for like Elizabeth Warren would be so, where she'd be like, oh, these Minions, you know, I love them a lot. They sure remind me about the deficit. Gosh, she's so annoying. Apolitically on that. Elizabeth Warren is just weird and annoying. It makes for exactly that reason.
but so brave.
But so
so
brave.
brave.
So brave.
Like her hero Stuart the Minion, the bravest of the three.
Yeah, the bravest minion. Let's just describe random personality traits onto every one of
I
these
think
guys.
out of the two of us, which one of us is a Bob? Which one of us
is
is
it a Kevin or I think I'm a Kevin. I think Kevin's the one who's tall and stoic. I think Kevin's supposed to be the stoic one.
Mm.
Actually, I don't know about I think he's clumsy. I don't know.
Dude.
I mean, all of them are clumsy.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
They're all
Okay.
rapscallions.
They're all little goblin things.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I gotta say, you know, I will hand Illumination one thing, and that is that scene in the first Despicable Me where the minion drinks the anti-gravity potion and then just flies away, and you're like, that poor thing's just gonna go and die.
Exactly.
Um,
It's that beautiful Looney Tunes logic where
Yeah.
there are no consequences.
Yeah,
Isn't he shown in an after credits?
yeah, he's like
section, like,
floating
doing
in
all right.
space.
Yeah.
I there's this common meme about how the writers didn't know what to do with the minions because the whole thing about the minions is that their origin is that they follow the most evil person living
Mm-hmm.
at any given time, and coincidentally they disappeared in the 1920s and then came back in the 1930s or excuse me came back in the 1970s. So they missed
I think
out
it was
on
weren't they
Hitler.
like frozen during the time?
Yes,
like they were
they-
frozen in
They
an
were
ice
frozen
cap?
through
Yeah.
Hitler, so they didn't do the genocides.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't commit the Holocaust.
Yeah.
But they also
Though I bet
they
they're-
also did work for, and it's it shows them working for like Attila the Hun and Napoleon. And it's like,
Yes.
well, Attila the Hun in price for pound, sure did he was definitely in the running. And then what
for
about
some of the
yeah.
worst atrocities committed
Yeah,
in
and then what
humanity?
about like Mao Zedong in the 60s and 70s, which apparently you were like, oh, actually the most evil person in the world right now is this random woman in England who's a supervillain. It's like, oh, actually there's mass murderers who are active. Oh, what were you guys doing during Rwanda? Pol Pot? I don't know. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys to get up some real
Why don't
mischief.
you guys diversify your assets and spread out a little bit? Is all
I wonder.
I'm saying.
So, like, Bob, he's famous for a few lines: him chuckling, him showing his butt, him saying "banana," and then sometimes he would also say, "Get up against the wall."
Your kind is no longer wanted here.
Yes, yes,
History has moved past you.
yes. Face the wall. Imagine a minion saying "face the wall."
Guys, speaking of facing
Speaking
the
of
wall,
facing the wall.
eventually, for the things that we say on this podcast, we will face the wall. It's just a matter of time. And we want to try to enjoy it while we can. But the only reason we can and we can do things like have a studio here, have the equipment that we do, is because we got patrons that are helping us out and they're doing the Lord's work. I want to thank our top patrons. It's Joe Papalardo, Sammy Roberts, and Zach and Amber Strehle. Thank you so much. Your contributions are very much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting the show, the $1 tier, you get access to our Discord, and you get the episodes a day early, not a week early. This is the second time I've said that. We don't have that kind of schedule. We can't promise such things. At the $5 tier, you get the Patreon post show, and like content that we're talking about right now. We're talking about presidents and their love of minions, right? What would the Patreon show look like? Well, let's get into why Bill Clinton and the Clinton family enjoys minions.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're really going to get deep into there. And then at the $10 tier, you guys can ask us questions. We'll answer them on air. I got a question from Samuel Roberts. You ready for it?
Yeah.
All right. He says, were you bullied as a little kid, or were you, heaven forbid, the bully?
I think that everybody who was bullied
was a
bully at some
yeah.
point because you are trained that those with the stronger or who have more power in a power dynamic should use their power that way, and also you kind of like get off a little bit on switching the roles, And I remember I was
a little person.
I bullied on some occasions, and part of that was because we were bullied so heavily. I remember being bullied quite a bit, so there'd be often times where this person is weaker than me. And since I'm usually the weakest in any scenario, then I'm going to
bully them.
It's
weird because we had a strange situation in which we were pretty bullies up until 6th grade. I would say, I think like when we were in places of power when we were young and unafraid, we were bullies. And then when we went to public school in 6th grade and we were like the new kids and we were dumpy, in comparison to everybody else.
No, I got mud on my shoes, damn it. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Just a quick aside about Shad's shoes.
Yeah. I got my newbies, dude. Got my white New Balances.
Why would you ever get white New Balances? That is just a recipe for disaster.
They're fresh as hell. I can understand that somebody who doesn't understand how to be fresh would wonder why.
It's true. I've never been fresh to life or death.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have we have both perspectives in a lot of ways because we just, came in from a place of being bullies and then being swatted down to the bottom of the totem pole very fast, and then stayed there for the rest of our career in schooling. So,
yeah, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but it was I mean we got bullied like out of a movie,
Yeah,
there was instances where I was sitting there thinking, even at the time, is this Ned's Declassified? Why are people talking to me like this? I remember one time when I was in middle school, I was in the library during lunch because I didn't want to sit with other people because they would bully me. And a group of kids who were on the prowl came into the library, and I was reading a Garfield comic book. And this kid just walked up to me. He's like, "What are you doing? Reading effing Garfield?" And I was like, "Yeah." And And then him and his friends like laughed at me, like he'd really owned me. And of course, I felt owned because I was the odd
I
one
mean, you
out.
always do feel owned in those instances.
You feel so
right?
owned.
You feel like it's you've
Yeah.
actively been destroyed by this person.
Was it kind of weird that I was reading Garfield? Sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you
should you have been doing that at your age?
Probably not.
Should have been having friends. You know,
That was
hanging out with
that
them
was
at
in the
lunch.
brief period in my life where I still kind of believed that I could be a cartoonist, and so I was researching. But I can't draw to save my life. Quite literally, I practiced for 3 months, like every single day, and at the end of it, I was no better than I was at the beginning. So, it's very depressing.
So
actually.
if I put a gun to your head and I said draw Garfield for me, you couldn't do it.
I mean, I could give you a rough approximation of America's favorite cat, but I don't think I could really do it justice in the way that only Jim can. I wonder when the last time.
Jimmy D.
I wonder when the last time was that Jim actually drew Garfield.
I mean, I bet he does at conventions all the time, but I don't know.
What I'm saying is like for a comic strip.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that he has not written a strip in ages. I mean, when John and the vet, whatever her name is, got married in the comic strip.
Let's say her name is Arlene.
No, I think there is an Arlene. I think the pink cat,
his gray. Oh yeah, his girlfriend.
Yes,
yeah,
his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I think that's
Garfield's girlfriend.
Yeah, I think that's Arlene.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's Arlene.
Oh wow.
You should check this out for us, Josh.
Can you get us the cast of Garfield?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I coughed there. But the vet and John got married, and you're sitting there, you're thinking, it's like, there's no way Jim would have let this happen. There's no way that my good friend Jim Davis would ever have let this happen. The whole point is that he's a lovable sad sack, but that he's a sad sack. And then there was comics after comic after comic of them just being in love and happy. And you're sitting there thinking, what? How could Garfield let this happen?
I know.
His whole existence is trying to make sure that John is never happy.
Yes, he is
He's
there to
royally failing.
to torment.
Yes.
Infinitely.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
There would just be whole comics where John would, be like, I can't wait for my date. I bought this brand new tie. And then Garfield would destroy it, and that was the joke. That was just making Jim sad. And I know it's been played to death, but it's like the Garfield without Garfield thing, where like Jim's life is just incredibly John.
But Jim, because John is directly based off of Jim Davis.
Yes, John Arbuckle is supposed to be Jim Davis. So John Arbuckle's job. Very few people know this, unless you've read, of course, like the first comic, like literally the first comic, and of course I have. I've read a lot of the early stuff. But
while everybody else was,
they were kissing
each other, making out in the lunchroom.
They were tongue kissing in the bathroom, and I was there figuring out the origins of John Arbuckle. But John Arbuckle is a cartoonist.
Yes,
that's how John Arbuckle makes his money. And I think that like every once in a while there would be like a weird semi-reference to it, but no, John was a cartoonist. And I think still is a cartoonist.
It's still running.
Yeah, which I've always wondered what's
the name of this vet?
Liz Wilson.
Liz. Okay.
Her cat is Arlene.
Yes, I was right.
Wait, it's her cat?
I don't think it's her cat.
Yeah, I don't think it's her cat.
I think it's just some pink cat.
Yeah, it's pink cat.
Yeah. And then like another.
I was about to say, Josh, your understanding of the lore is pitiful.
Yeah, it's pitiful at best. Well, another like weird thing about it is that in the comic early on there was a roommate who's introduced as a character.
Yes.
I forget what his name is.
He's got the mustache.
Yeah, he's got like a mustache. He's like kind of weird looking.
Wears a black hair. He's got small eyes.
Yeah, like really his eyes are just dots. But anyway, his dog, Odie was his dog.
Yes, originally.
The whole thing was that, Garfield was happy in the only way that Garfield can be happy, I suppose, which is when it's not Mondays.
Mm-hmm. To think that your entire life, 1/7 of your life is a living hell.
Yeah. But he would be hanging
which is actually a better percentage than I would say a majority of people have.
He was hanging out with John, semi-happy to be alive, and then this guy brought Odie. And then Normal, too, I think also was his pet. But do you have a name for this guy?
I can't.
Just look up Garfield roommate. I know there's like YouTube videos like what happened to this guy? But he
there's a whole conspiracy.
But no, he like literally disappears one day. Like there isn't like a goodbye or anything, and then now John just has the dog. He just has to look after the dog now.
Yeah, because isn't the classic trope is that either John or Garfield has him tied up in the basement?
Oh yeah, the guy.
Yeah. That's classic trope.
That's the meme.
His name is Lyman.
Lyman.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a picture.
W-
Yeah, that's Lyman. I think he's.
What a bad name.
I think
What?
yeah,
Is that
is
his
him.
first name?
Yeah.
What's his? Do you know his last name? Does the Garfield wiki have his last name? Just Lyman.
Lyman. But yeah, no. So yeah, but Odie was.
What do you
his
think
dog.
that is? German?
I have a joke. I'm not going to say it. But he,
Patreon exclusive.
Patreon exclusive Lyman joke. Sorry, it's a good joke. Anyway, Lyman, yeah, he disappears, and then they just have Odie now, right? And then it's slowly kind of, I think the lore has sort of shifted around it, like in the television specials, like Odie. They give Odie a backstory and all this stuff, and
Yeah, he
Lyman
needs
is
a
out of
great
the picture.
origin. Yeah.
Yeah, Lyman is totally out of the picture. Same with Garfield. He has an origin story. The origin story, I think, changes for Garfield, though, on multiple occasions.
Yeah. One point he was a farm cat, I think.
Yeah.
That was picked up from the farm. This is all entirely uninteresting.
No,
but
this is Monomaniacs tier content.
it's
though.
true.
Is
It's
us
true.
talking about Garfield.
Yeah. Though I will say there was a period of 2 weeks where I was like obsessed with the "I'm sorry, John" movement. So like the horrification of, Garfield.
Yeah. No, it's not horrification.
the horrified.
I don't want to even imagine what the horrification of Garfield.
I don't think you have to.
I
Imagine
can't believe
that.
you would
think
ever
can find
do
that on
something like
Google.
that to good old Jimmy D.
Work. His
Work.
intellectual property.
His intellectual property.
Stop it, please.
No.
You've horrified Garfield, and you're laughing. You're laughing.
Yeah, but the turning it with Lumpy Kid and whatever that stuff is, the turning Garfield into a spooky cosmic horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just find it interesting because the core premise of it is the John being trapped in a infinite torture, right? Like a constant repetition of the same jokes over and over again, but manifested in actual horror imagery, which I think is interesting because the people have extrapolated that it says, well, that's actually what Jim Davis is doing too. He is in a world in which he does the same.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he hasn't done Garfield in a long time.
Yeah.
But the idea is much like John, he is just constantly
He's
repeating
trapped. Yeah.
the same 3 panels
Yes.
over and over and over
Garfield
again.
killing spiders. Garfield eating lasagna. Garfield hating Mondays. It's about it. Just
Mhm.
that's about the extent of the jokes, except for when there's narratives and stuff.
Yeah.
The
Arcs
apparently a marriage occurred,
at one point.
and now she is also trapped.
I think in the I'm Sorry, John extended universe, she has left him at some point. So
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. But
That would
we're
make
getting
sense.
into
That makes
AUs,
sense.
dude.
Yeah, the alternate universe stuff. Yeah, there is something kind of funny about the simplicity also of his house, to where it's almost liminal. It's like the
Yeah.
back rooms.
Yeah,
it's just sort of
it's primary
just
color walls.
primary color walls, and then there's always a chest high table that Garfield is on at any given moment, so he can look John in the eyes and
Mhm.
talk to him, right? And maybe a couch that he's scratching or something, and a weird brown TV, one of those square brown TVs, and that's about it. Man, I wonder what kind of commentary Jim Davis had about cell phones. I'm sure that was super fun.
Oh yeah, I bet he's got a lot of really good jokes about smartphones.
Yeah.
yeah. But when the
Good
content
Garfield rocking some AirPods, I can see it.
well, I think there was actually a 3-panel probably that was just him doing the iTunes dance, most likely. In the
Oh yeah, just
Yeah.
his silhouette,
yeah, just his silhouette with primary colors behind him, just doing.
Yeah.
Everybody did that back then.
and then
so,
Garfield turns the light on,
yeah.
and he's in his underwear. It's oh, you're not supposed to be here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're
Yeah,
about to hit
yeah.
an hour here. So, I hope that you didn't hear that sound effect in real life. And you're boy, check out the Patreon. We're gonna hop over right now. I'm gonna tell the Lyman joke. So you have that to look forward to. And other than that, though, thank you so much for everybody who's sort of been supporting us over this time. kind of propelling us to the point where we can kind of have the studio. This is not being paid for really with Patreon money, but
No.
it's going to be cool to kind of have this new opportunity and do a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, your guys' contributions are going to help tremendously when it comes to the
Yeah.
accoutrement, right? Like,
Exactly.
what's necessary to make this space viable.
So it's gonna be fun. And for the update, real quick on the book club, I have the book. I'm gonna start delineating passages and stuff for us to read, but we're a little busy. I'm a little busy moving in right now, but we'll get that figured out. As far as that's concerned, make sure to get your copy so that we can actually do this. Because right now, I think it's only Dylan doesn't have a freaking copy, and you're supposed to technically.
Did I sign a document that said I had to have a copy today? Right now?
Okay, shut up. You're being dumb. But and I know Josh isn't gonna read it, so I think right now it's just me, maybe Graham, maybe Boomer, and then Sammy and Jake. So hop in. God's Chinese Son. Sounds like a joke.
It's a book.
It's a book. But yeah,
and it's not being read as a joke, by the way.
no,
I want to clarify that.
We're gonna actually learn about something real, and maybe there'll be some Monomaniacs content related to it. But I think we're gonna try and work our way through the book. So with that, without further ado, thanks again for listening.
See you on the Patreon.
See you on the Patreon.